All right, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome on into Diamond Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day, great weekend. It's not Saturday, it's Sunday. I know that. Sorry, I was looking at some Saturday notes right then. Happy Sunday. Sunday fun day. Unless you're a Tech baseball fan, wasn't so fun. 11-10, the loss today. Irvine takes the series. We'll recap it all, give you my thoughts, what we learned this weekend as Texas Tech continues to play a rigorous non-conference schedule that doesn't get any easier heading off to Las Vegas this weekend. But a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend here in West Texas after the incredibly cold, frigid temperatures of earlier this week. So we'll get your thoughts. We'll talk baseball tonight. Want to hear what you're thinking. We'll discuss and otherwise and peel back some of the layers of the onion on this. My gosh, we're so deep into the season now. 6 games. Who would have thought we'd be here this deep into the season? Let's have some fun tonight. In 3, in 2. All right, good afternoon, everybody. All you good, fine Texans and West Texans and everybody who wishes they were a great West Texan. We're glad you're here with us tonight here in the Raiderland World headquarters. We are brought to you by Ultra Exteriors in Lubbock, Texas. Warren Taylor, he'll get you taken care of. Now, hey, maybe it's the exterior of the house that you want to look at better. It could be window treatments. It could be roof. It could be all sorts of things. But what about the interior? You might want an ultra interior. Maybe a bathroom remodel is on your list this spring. You need to call Warren Taylor at Ultra Exteriors. Check out their website. Tell him we said, hey, he's a great West Texas dude, man. Also by Sideline Provisions, the ultimate in Texas Tech and Red Raider apparel. You can find it online. Go to quarter4.net, Raider gear, whatever it is, and drop down. Or you can just go by Quarter 4 in Lubbock, South Loop 289 and Slide Road. Yep, that's the old Cardinal Sports Center. And Sideline Provisions, cool stuff waiting for you. Cap, shirts, everything in between. And then everybody gets on the show today, tonight, and all the time, thanks to United Supermarkets and the United Supermarkets chat line. They're the pinnacle of grocery store experience here in West Texas. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, from ready-to-go meals to great produce and great meat selections, where I was, there earlier today checking out the meat, and all that good stuff. They are also the grocery store in West Texas that supports Texas Tech as opposed to other stores who might not and send their money elsewhere and put it on scoreboards in other places around the state. All right, so that's what we got going on today. I want to get your comments and your thoughts. What are we thinking now? Texas Tech loses the series 2-1. Yep, 1-5. 1-5 to start the season against number 6, number 21. It is the most difficult schedule they have ever played to start the regular season. And when I say ever played, I mean ever played. Not under Tadlock, not under Dan Spencer, not under Larry Hayes, not under Cal Segrist. By far the most difficult undertaking. And it doesn't stop going to Las Vegas with Illinois, Texas, and Washington waiting. So what did we learn this weekend? Well, we can get into the game today. Certainly, we can go 30,000 feet big picture. I want to hear from you what you're liking because Friday night I was told they were never going to score any more runs, and then you go out and score 15-10. I believe that's 25 runs in 2 days. Well, now I'm being told the pitching's horrible. Obviously, the pitching's horrible now, and this is really the first game that the pitching has played a role in losing a game. Up to today, it had been lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. Well, they corrected that over the last 48 hours for sure. It had been defense, and today the defense let you down again. But today was the first day the pitching really didn't do you any favors. Yesterday, you had a couple of 2-out, can't get out of the inning moments that extended Irvine innings. You obviously, were able to overcome that because you were knocking the cover off the ball. And we'll get to the offense in the park and everything else before we get out of it. But today was the day that the pitching did you no favors. And I'll give you some numbers here. These are the numbers. 196, 55.6, and 5, and then 886. Those numbers right there are pretty much why you didn't win. You threw 196 pitches today. Texas Tech pitchers threw 196 pitches. The strike ratio was 55.6, which is horrible. Hey, but they were worse, 51.2, but you were helping them out with 5 errors. They had 1, and there we go on the defense. And your fielding percentage was 886. Hey, if it begins with an 8 in a 9-inning game, that's not good. When you weren't walking guys and hitting guys or having errors, you only allowed 4 extra base hits. And that's the thing. Cal Irvine is a lot like where Tim Tadlock would like to see this offense get to, that they'll kill you with base hits, not just home runs. And there were a lot of home runs today. The ball was flying out early. Texas Tech, they're in the first, back-to-back jacks. We'll get to the bullpen padding before we get out of here today. The bottom line is you threw too many pitches. You didn't execute pitches. You hit guys. Jack Siebert getting the start. His curveball was actually breaking in too hard on left-handers early on. But he throws 55 pitches in 2 innings. Ball comes in, gets out of it. Then you got Lowe for an inning, and he gives up a jack, facing 7 batters. Jordan had the roughest day, giving up the 3 walks, but you had 8 walks on the day to 9 strikeouts. And you hit a couple of guys. In fact, you hit 4 guys. And you still had a chance to win. Bright spot on the pitching, I thought, was Connor Mohan, who came in the last 2 innings and was nails. No walks, strikeout, no runs, giving up no hits, faced 7 batters, a very economical 30 pitches, 21 for strikes. So we look at things we take away from it. We go, Mohan, all right, good. We like that. Everybody else in between, yeah, okay. You were getting guys out there and you wanted to get guys, you needed to get guys work. We still haven't even seen Parker Gutera out there. You're probably your closer. Your designated closer just hasn't had a role so far. And then going back to Siebert, I still like what he's got. I think he's got good stuff. I do. But he's got to command it. He's got to execute some pitches. I kind of take that first game against North Carolina. I put it out there, and it's cold, it's bad weather. Today was great weather. Now, the park was playing true today. And when Dan Law Field plays true, it's a hitter's park, not a pitcher's park this time of year. Dan Law plays about 4 different ways. Believe me, I've called enough games over the decades, going back to the 80s, that I've seen this watched. And this time of year, if you don't have a wind and it's a nice day like today, you kind of got thin air. The ball has a tendency to carry and jump. And at 375 or 335, 375, 405, the dimensions really make this park play small. And the hitters took advantage of it today. But Siebert, I want him to get a start out there in Vegas. But if he can't find it in Vegas, that's when you maybe begin to look and go, okay, what are other options here going on? And this is where you don't have any midweek games, which I think is still okay. I like that early on. You don't have any midweek games right now for Texas Tech baseball. And you're playing these high leverage early season games against ranked opponents, which is very different. So give me one more start with Siebert to see where we are. All right, let's get you guys going. You can get in on the United Supermarkets chat line, whether you are on Twitter X, that's at Ryan Hyatt Media, whether you are on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, always free, all of our platforms. If you're on YouTube, be sure and hit like and share it. Makes my wife feel good. Same thing if you're on Facebook Live. We want to hear from you tonight. Get your thoughts, your comments in, and everything else. He goes by Wet Penguin, and he doesn't know what to say, but you let them come in and just punk you in your own ballpark. They didn't exactly punk you. You beat them yesterday. They barely beat you today. That does snap a streak of 26 consecutive non-conference weekend series or 3-game sets that Texas Tech has won. But they didn't exactly come in and punk you. And it's not exactly like they're not a better team and we're expected to win the series, by the way. Still the wet penguin. The penguin who is wet. How do you say penguin in Spanish? Penguin. Yeah, I'll get there. Starting rotation really let you down this weekend. Eh, eh. I thought Hewer pitched well until they let him go. I thought about an extra 15 or 20 pitches. All right. Yeah, you finally got some hits, but I think you leave with more questions than answers. A lot to figure out. Conference games coming quickly. All right, there you go. So Wet Penguin has weighed in. You guys tell us what you're thinking. Conference play is coming quickly. Indeed, it is. I mean, I like the way this lineup is starting to stretch out. I like the speed. What Tim Tadlock wanted to do was get more speed, be able to be more aggressive, do a few things. And we saw that, I think, this weekend, the speed playoff. By the way, I need to say this. In the ninth inning, Robin Villeneuve made a play at first that Eric Gutierrez would be proud of. Best defensive first baseman I think you've had out there since then. He had a 5 RBI day from Logan Hughes. I think he's working out right now for you. Maxie threw a guy out trying to steal. What is that? Pompey can play and hit. I'm not walking out of here with more questions than answers. I'm seeing things come together. I do like the left-right aspect that they're doing. And I thought it was pretty cool in the ninth when they were flipping Pompey and Lopez defensively like a basketball coach, putting a defensive lineup and then an offensive lineup out there. I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty interesting to see that play out. Yeah, I'm exiting more with, I think, answers coming out of here this weekend. And it may not be some of the answers you want, but I'll say one more time for those in the back, I would much rather see Texas Tech play this schedule than what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years in non-conference. Doesn't get you anywhere. Doesn't do anything for you. The best non-conference schedules featured great teams, high-quality teams from across all the major power conferences. We saw it first in 16, then we saw it pay off. And it would have paid off in 17, but you limped to the finish line or ran into Sam Houston State and that little bitty left-hander. And then 18 and 19. I would much rather do this. And I assure you that the metrics and the committee will reward Texas Tech for playing this schedule. Now, you got to go win some games. I'm not saying you sit here and go, 2-14 and go, yeah, but the schedule, man. The schedule, man, it's all no. You got to go get some, and you got to go get some games this weekend. You got to go. I think you need to go out there and go 2 of 3 there at the Las Vegas Baseball Classic. We'll go through that. And we got plenty of time to look at that as we go through. Let's see. Went through that. We'll say this. All right, we'll get to some questions and comments. You guys on the United Supermarkets chat line, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, doesn't really matter. We love to hear from you. Get your thoughts in. I appreciate you hanging out with us on a Sunday afternoon. It's Diamond Talk. It's what we do here in Raiderland, and we'll be with you all season long, just like we have been since 1989, covering Tech baseball, or at least me. My first broadcast was in the spring of 1989. The guy doing color today on the TV broadcast, Mike Gustafson, he was playing. Somewhere, I don't know where it is, Gus has a videotape where his dad would videotape the games with the VCR camera, and he would put the radio on into the audio input, and there's audio of me and Brian Gordon and maybe Dan Vaughn, a couple different guys back when we were doing those games. Obviously, the old Woody Van Dyke days at K-Jack, and of course, Jack Dale when he was doing some baseball in Stevedale. Chris, I don't think you will be intimidated by any teams in the Big 12 after playing the schedule. No, you won't be intimidated. They're going to be good teams, but it will not be a shock to the system, the pitches you see and the hitters you face. And that's what I've liked about this. So you saw the really great pitching at North Carolina. You're not going to see any pitching staff better this year than what you saw at North Carolina. You just won't. I like this. Obviously, they're a ranked team, and they've got one of the best, if not the best, early season RPI in Cal Irvine that just came in. They made you work. They spoiled good pitches. They forced every Texas Tech pitcher who was out there to make the best pitch and execute the best pitch you could. And for the first 2 days, Tech did a pretty good job of it. Today, they just didn't do a good job. They just didn't execute pitches. Now, we used to call that you didn't throw a good pitch. Today, you've got to say execute a pitch. But yeah, you get to conference play, a little different deal. Off of YouTube, Brian Hyatt's Raiderland on YouTube. Please subscribe, everybody who's out there. If you hadn't subscribed, we're trying to go over 500 subscribers on the channel this week. That really bumps up the metrics, and it's really cool, and we appreciate that. Even if you want to watch it on Twitter and everywhere else, and we love that, and that's fine, and on the Facebook. Texas Tech learned what they needed to learn now instead of learning in conference, and that's an erudite statement to make, that the last 4, 5, 6 years you've kind of gone into conference play and then go, oh, I mean, look at the discrepancy between Big 12 and non-conference play the last couple of years. Average, pitching, you name it, everything else about it. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that disparity this year. I promise you. Learn it now, win then. In every Tech baseball team under Tim Tadlock that has been great, and I mean, he's had like 5 great teams, everyone that's been great gets better, right? And they keep figuring it out until you get into May. That the last 2 weeks of April is when things on a good team smooth out, and then in May, that's when you start going up. And that's the way baseball should be. You can't play baseball with your hair on fire. I've always said that. I tried to do it once. It was painful. Chris, still a frustrating loss today. This is the first time this year frustrated by pitching. I agree with you, and that's what we said in the opening, that this was the first game that I can look at and go, okay, you know, of the 5 losses you've had, this one's really on the pitching. That it goes pitching first, defense second. The bats did all they could. Well, let's go back to some of the numbers on the bats, and these are numbers that should win you a game, okay? You out-hit them 294, 250. They went 9 of 36, you went 10 of 34. 2 out-hitting, you were 7 of 15, 467. They were 4 of 10. Runners on, 5 of 17. They get you a little bit here, 7 of 20. They had more runners in scoring position, though. You were 4 of 9. They were 3 of 12. That's 444. 4 of 9 RISP should be good. Lead off both teams 4 of 9. Runners on third, less than 2 outs. You never had an opportunity. They were 1 for 4. Bases loaded, you were 1 for 2. They were 2 for 7. In advancement opportunities, 9 of 19. They had many more advancement opportunities, and here's where they got you a little bit. They were 14 of 25 advancing runners. Again, not killing you with extra base hits. They were moving guys around. They were doing that. But most of the numbers I just gave you, if I give you that raw stat, we look at it and we go, everything's equal, that's a game you ought to win. They left 9, you left 8 on base. They reached on error 5 times. You reached on error once. Those are numbers that hitting-wise, you ought to win. You scored 10 runs, you ought to win. What were there? 2 double plays. Do I have that still called up? Yeah, you hit into 2, they hit into 2. I mean, that's not a lot. And particularly if you're playing in an 11-10 game, that's not a lot of double plays, but you hit into the last one. You just hit right into it. They were in that no doubles defense. That in the 5th inning, that ball gets through down the line in the 9th inning. In the 9th inning, you're going to be guarding the baseline. There you get it. And that's the way the cookie crumble. All right, so jump in on the United Supermarkets chat line here on Diamond Talk. We'll be with you in the morning on the website, theraiderland.com, our Raiderland hot links. Monday, good, bad, and ugly Monday recap of the weekend. Get ready for your GBs and U's, plenty to choose from all the way around out there. And then a huge daily broadcast tomorrow at 6:30. Special guest included. We'll be previewing Texas Tech in Houston. It's the battle for the 3 seed for Texas Tech. For Houston, it's the battle to get to the 1 seed. This might be the last most singularly important game in Big 12 basketball from a seeding standpoint for both of these teams. That Houston can get to the 1, that you could get to the 3 seed, which would match as good as you've ever done. So that's coming up tomorrow. Yeah, right now, though, still a lot of Texas Tech baseball to get to. Brought to you by Ultra Exteriors here in Lubbock, Texas. Call my friend Warren Taylor. Tell him, I want my bathroom to look good. But it ain't on the outside, it's on the inside. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. What if I want my bathroom and my windows to look good? I want good-looking windows. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do windows as well. It was just too wordy, I think, for him to say Ultra Exteriors and Interiors. You had to go with one. All right. Alan off of our YouTube channel. You gotta win 2 or 3 next weekend in Vegas. If one of those is Texas, even better. You don't gotta, but you need to, and I think they will. I think you can get Illinois. I think you can get Washington. If you can get Texas, great. That'd be great. That would be huge. Huge, as they say. You know, the games yesterday and today, I felt like I had called those games a million times back in the 90s and early 2000s, calling Texas Tech baseball on the radio. And that was a typical Sunday game between 2 good teams. By that I mean that the bats stay the same through the weekend. You got good hitters on Friday, you got good hitters on Saturday, you got good hitters on Sunday. But as the weekend goes through and you go through the pitching depth, by Sunday, the good hitters are still out there. The guys who maybe you're just working in, and obviously this is the second weekend of the season, so you're really guys are getting their first time to go out there for both teams. You see this. And I can't tell you how many times there were times when it had been 11-10 game where we thought, nah, this is a good low scoring. What a great low scoring game on a Sunday. Now, times change and people's reference and context change. But it's still college baseball. It's not MLB. It's still college baseball, and you still have to take a very broad view approach to it. We use the term football guy. Football guy overreacts. We got a lot of football guys right now, and they're overreacting to this team based on maybe some of the frustrations they've had in the last year or two. This team isn't last year's team, and it's not 2 years ago. You need to be able to view this year's team through this year's context. I know that's hard to do. And it's still incredibly early. We're 6 games into the year. So people will say, hi, it's a sunshine pumper. That's fine. I know a good team when I see it. I know talent when I see it. And this team is more talented than any team that Tadlock, I think, has put together and put on the field since 2020. Yeah. Now, what they do with that, that's up to them. I don't get to do that. Connor Mohan today. By the way, somebody buy that dude a steak. Can we get him like a steak and peanut butter and jelly NIL endorsement? Like immediately, get some meat on that dude's bones. But he was dealing the last 2 innings. High leverage situation in a meaningful non-conference series. Remember that. Yeah, I felt like I had called this game so many different times over the years. Let's go to the scoreboard. Big 12 roundup. What do we got today within the league? How's everybody else doing? These are finals, most of them all finals right now. Kansas beating Tarleton 11-7. You got West Virginia and Lipscomb 5-0. The Ears win it. Bryant at UCF Orlando, and Bryant beats UCF 5-3. In 10, Baylor falls to Gonzaga in Waco. at the Baylor Ballpark, which is a mini version of the ballpark in Arlington. Oral Roberts in Arizona State. It's a final. ASU wins 9-2 there at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Then after that, San Diego and Arizona 12-6. Arizona over San Diego at High Corbett Field. Top of the ninth, they're almost done. They're in Berkeley. Houston leading 7-1. Bottom of the eighth, number 19 Oklahoma State over UT Arlington 19-4. Just kind of getting going. Kansas State and TCU. This is a non-conference game, obviously. It's 0-0 there at Globe Life. And then top of the fifth, Cincinnati and UNLV. 7-6 UNLV, Cincinnati. They're playing out there at Earl Wilson Stadium. That is not where Tech will play next week. That's a different. That's the college stadium for UNLV, I believe. And then bottom of the fourth, second game of the doubleheader, West Virginia over Lipscomb, 1-0. And later on tonight, you've got Utah and San Diego out there at La Jolla at Triton Ballpark, 8 o'clock start. I think our time. I think we've got that right. And then within the top 25, we'll scroll back up, see what we got. Taking me a second here. No. We got to do that. Thank you, D1 Baseball, by the way, for updating these throughout the day. There we go. Shrink that. So number 8, Georgia over Illinois, Chicago, 17-3. Duke, 18-1 over Cornell. Dayton in number 10, Florida, 12-2. Florida at Condren Family Stadium. Michigan and Arkansas, 8-6 Arkansas. Number 5, Arkansas wins. Number 4, Tennessee over Samford, 11-1. Number 16, Texas over Dartmouth, 4-1. Number 9, Florida State over Penn, 5-3. Vandy beats St. Mary's. Number 15, Vandy, 10-0. Number 6, North Carolina over ECU, 11-6. That's always a great non-conference series out there. Wake Forest ranked 13th over St. John's, 9-6. And then number 24 over Northwestern State, 14-4. That was in 7. Bet that's a getaway 10-run rule. Minnesota over number 7 Oregon State, 10-4. So the 7th-ranked team falls. Aggies, number 1, loses to Cal Poly, 3-2 in College Station. So the Aggies, I believe, their first loss. And then 14th-ranked Clemson over North Carolina A&T, not TNT, 4-2. Mississippi State, 6-4, 18th-ranked Bulldogs over Missouri State. Dallas Baptist, number 20, over SIU. Edwardsville, 10-2. NC State, bottom of the 8th. They're ranked 12th. Coastal Carolina beating them 10-3 right now. UC Santa Barbara, 21st ranked in the country over Cal Baptist, 6-3 in the 8th. In the 9th, Oklahoma State, as we mentioned, 19-4. They're going to win. Oregon's delayed top of the 3rd against Rhode Island, 11th ranked Ducks. And then everything else is what we told you, minus 2nd ranked Virginia and Oklahoma just getting started. So there we are. All right, we hope you have enjoyed a little bit of Diamond Talk. Last chance to get in. Get your questions, comments in. Thanks to United Supermarkets before we get out of here. We got stuff to do because Monday is coming fast. It's they were camping out for Texas Tech and Houston. They never did that in the old days when Phi Slamma Jamma was coming to town. I'll tell you that. I still like this Texas Tech team. I'm going to keep saying it. Some of you guys are going to believe it. Some of you guys aren't going to believe it. Some of you guys are going to be sitting there going, yeah, Hyatt was sitting there in February saying this is going to be a team that could play to a super regional and play to game 3 in a super regional and play a meaningful game. And what does he know? That's fine. Hold the receipts. I'm good for it. I don't worry about that. I don't worry about that anymore. It's on to Sin City for Tech baseball. They can get 2 out of 3 out there. Feel pretty good about where you are. Getting ready to come back for the Grand Canyon series. You got, yeah, little non-conference in between. All right, you guys are the best. I would ask you to do a couple of things. If you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to that, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Same thing on our Facebook page. Like that, Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media. Then share this, invite people in. Then hit us on the website in the morning. I want your good, bad, and ugly recap of the weekend. Things you love, things you hate, things you had to turn away from. And we'll get this thing rocking and rolling. and then a big daily broadcast coming up on Monday night at 6:30. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We'll see you Monday, theraiderland.com.